YouTube, what's up, boys? So check it out, man. I'm gonna kind of rush through this video. So if I can get your eyes and ears, that would be great, man. Check it out, man. In this video, I'm gonna show you guys some of my best zone drops. All right. I'm not gonna show you guys, all my adjustments, but I'm gonna leave the adjustments up to you. But I'm just gonna give you the solid foundation. Okay. So let's just hop into it, man. This will definitely help your game a lot, man. But some of the first things that I like to do, depending on the formation, like bunch for an example. Right? Any bunch play, I usually like to have these as my zone drops. Okay, so I'll do something like this. Okay, so I have 10 or I have 20 on flats, right? 10 on curl flats and then 5 on hooks. Sometimes I'll do this right here. Well, I'll just switch it up. Okay, so these, we could just do it like this: 10 on flats, 20 on curl flats. Okay, so let's say I come out in man coverage. Okay. Or just, linebacker blitz 0 or something. And then there's a bunch, right? They'll usually flip it. So I'll have to flip with them. Okay. Right. The typical come out short side and then flip to the right. And one of the first setups that I'll do is I'll just do something like this. Okay. Right. Gotta move this guy so you can see. Yeah, so this is basically the first setup, right? I have my 2. I know I have Slay up here. I was just kind of labbing something earlier, so it's not the personnel is not exactly how I want it, but that's fine. So don't worry about him being up there. I was just kind of labbing something. But 20s on curl flats, right? And the reason for the 10 on flats, on cloud flats, is for motion slant routes, okay? So boom. This is basic. This is another good setup that I like to run, okay? And then what I'll do is I'll usually spread my line and crash them up, okay? It helps with the block sheds, all right? But whenever you're playing a bunch user, right, sometimes they'll do something like this, right, where they motion, right? They'll try to have a motion slant route. But what you'll notice, and I know he got free right here, but usually my user would probably be in the middle, right? Like I said, I'm not going to go too in depth for it, but let's just pretend, like I said, I'd come up. If I was usering, I'd just come up here and then I'd kind of, I touch the lineman and then I'd probably shoot back up and try to lurk. You know what I mean? So that it would definitely help. The only read is basically the running back, but you can adjust accordingly to that, or the tight end, my bad, so you can adjust accordingly to that, okay? But the reason for those 10s is to help with that motion slant, okay? Right, because this slant route is basically bagged by this 10-yard, right? Completely bagged. You can click on again, interception, and then I have him right here. He's going up, right? So he helps with that. And then I also have, in case there's a crossing route, I have the safety, right? And then I have Slay, right? In case there's a crossing route on this side. So everything's basically bagged. Like I said, my user would probably be up here in the middle. But this is how you stop motion slant routes, okay? He's just having the 10 on shade down, shade up, boom, right? Because whenever you do that, they'll be in curl flats, right? And so in order to get blues out on the field, what you'll do is you'll hit Y and you'll shade underneath, and then you'll hit Y and shade over the top, and that'll pull up these blues, okay? And then you readjust the safeties and you do that. So that's one of the first setups. Super easy to run, locks up a lot of people. Then you can adjust out of that. All right, guys, and the second setup that I like to run is at $1. Okay, I like to run a shell, right? So this is what I'll usually do is I'll do 25s on flats, 10, and then 5 on hooks, and then I'll just adjust accordingly. This is the base setup, okay? So these are my favorite zone drops to start in $1. Even sometimes I'll do 25, 15 if it's the Bills or the Chiefs, and I can just expect a lot of passing. Then I'll do this right here and I'll adjust out of it, okay? But I'll do 25 and then 10 and 5, okay? And then what I'll do is obviously baseline, and then I'll have this off, okay? So I'll do that. I'll come out in DB fire, and then it doesn't really matter the play. Let's just go random play, right? But no matter what the play is, right, I'll usually press, and then I'll just run this, just a double Mabel on both sides, right? So you could just run something like this, right? This is basically a Mabel, right? Where you have the 25 or the 30 and then a 5 on the flat, okay? These 25s, right? These 25s, right? Like, let's use Slay for an example, right? Slay's on a cloud flat, but he's a 25. Okay, so what he's going to do is bag all the corner routes. Okay, so all the corner routes are going to be bagged. Another thing that you can do is, let's say, who is that over here? Palmer, all right? So let's say Palmer's just frying no dude over there. So what I'll do is I'll just click on the individual corner. Okay, now it's not working. This is why I hate practice mode. All right, let's try this one more time. Let's go here. Go random. All right, so I'll press, and then boom, I'll back him up, okay? So if I notice that he's getting torched like that, he just constantly gets torched, then I'll back up that cornerback, right? And then I'll leave Slay pressed, okay? So I actually went over this in my last video of how to shade corners, okay? How to shade cornerbacks, but instead of not shading all cornerbacks, because sometimes you guys will, shade outside, but everybody will shade outside. So in that video, you're going to want to check that out. It's like a cornerback secret video that I put out, but basically you can shade one cornerback. Okay, so pretty glitchy there, but you're going to want to check that video out. But you would run this basically, right? I'd sub in a safety at Cunningham, and I'd basically just user this area, right? Or maybe I just have the hook curl right there, right? Have the Mabel on the left side, double Mabel on the right and left, okay? And then basically I would just use her in the middle. And then, this is a run. So, whatever the play is, right? I'll just shoot here. I'll kind of use her, lurk over here. And for the most part, everything's going to be bagged, and then you just adjust out of it. If they start hitting you underneath, then you can adjust for that too. So let me show you how to cover drag routes, okay? I'm going to show you how to cover drag routes right now. All right, so to cover drag routes, right, what I like to do is just have my curl flats to 5, okay? So what I'll usually do is, because I kind of like to play a hybrid sometimes, so I have, 25 and then maybe 10 and 5 if I'm getting hit with a lot of drag routes. I still want my corner routes bagged. I still want to play the shell, except I'll just have curl flats to 5, okay? I feel like it works best out of 3-3 cub, okay? 3-3 cub or 3-5 wide or whatever it is, right? You can just go to Mike Blitz 0, right? Mike Blitz 0, and then let's use trips. Okay, so let's use trips.
5-9, 59, 59. Go.
I don't know what the play I'm calling here is, but let's just say there's 2 drags randomly, whether it's trips or whether it's, normal close or you Y off trips pats or whatever. Right? Basically what I'll do is, I'll just press or whatever. Why is he going over here? Right, and then I'll just do this. So both of these, and I'll run this right here, right? I don't want you to worry about all these guys manned up in the coverage, right? What I'm just trying to show you is the 5 on curl flats. No matter the coverage or whatever, the formation doesn't really matter. I just personally like to run it out of this. This is just a personal preference, but this is kind of one of the things I like to do is just have curl flats to 5. And what that's going to do is bag a lot of, it's going to completely bag drag routes, right? As you see, the drag routes are pretty much bagged for the most part. You know what I mean? Pretty simple, but those drag routes are going to, right? They're low enough that they'll basically bag. This drag route's bagged, and if, my user might shoot up here for a moment, and then, he's basically bagged over here, okay? Also, sometimes the curl flats will, the 5-yard curl flats will help with the running back flat route, okay? So that's just one of the things too, is you could just stop. If you're getting hit with a lot of drag routes, then you can put your curl flats to 5, and then you can just, kind of adjust out of that. You know what I mean? Do something like that. Like I said, I'm using 3-3. That's just a personal preference. You can use whatever you want. But as long as you have 2 curl flats out there, let's say I use a different formation. This is how I do it, okay? All right, so I'm in a different formation. Let's say I go to dime, right? Let's just say I go to dime and, I'm expecting 2 drag routes, right? That's like this guy's favorite thing to do is 2 drag routes, right? And I just can't stop it the entire game, right? So I'll probably just go to man coverage, right? I'll probably just come out in baseline or come out in default, right? And then what I'll do is I'll just do this right here, okay? So I'll put both of my defensive ends, my left end and my right end, I'll put both of them at 5 on the curl flats, okay? So I'm really only rushing 2, but like I said, this is a cover. This is kind of like a coverage year. You want to play coverage anyways. And then I'd sub into safety at Cunningham right here. Right, and as you see, all I have to do is just user and everyone's basically bagged. It's the same thing. If he wants to take off with it, I'm totally cool with that. I'm totally cool with giving that up. You know what I mean? So you kind of have to pick and choose your battles, I guess you could say, right? So if he's hitting you, let's say he needs a drag route or something like that, get a first down, you can stop it like that, but you're also going to give up pressure on the line. So you're going to have to pick and choose your battles. Like I said, that's why I like doing that at a 3-3 cub. Just a personal preference, you know what I mean? So there's that right there. So let's move on to the next tip, guys. And I just want to say thanks, guys. Thanks for all the support this entire year that you've shown me. It means more than you know, guys. But if you're new here, you should definitely consider hitting the subscribe button. And if not, that's cool too. But let's hop into the next tip. All right, guys. And then the next one, like I said, it doesn't matter the play on offense, but some of the things I like to do is I like to come out in nickel over. All right, and then I'll go to cover 4 quarters. Okay, and so sometimes what I'll do is I usually have it on. I have auto flip on. I have base aligned, and then sometimes I'll have it to match. Sometimes I won't. Okay, but what I'll do is I'll usually do this right here. So 10, 5, then 10 on hooks for cover 4. Okay, I feel like this works it works exceptionally well for cover 4. Right, so I'll come over here, boom, shade down, shade up. And then, right, I have 2 safeties in here, so I could either, figure out what to do. If the running back's getting open quite a bit, I can man up the running back, right? This guy will drop 10, so he'll help with the slant route, but I'm not expecting a slant route over here. And just kind of like, I'll just adjust out of this, Usually I'll cover the tight end, and then I'll just kind of run it like this. Right, so or I'll put him in a mid read or something like that. Really maybe even a spy or something like that. So it just kind of depends, but it's really simple. Right, cover 4, right, I'll press or whatever, right, and then I'll shade down. Okay, that'll do hard flats, okay, and everybody's going to play really aggressive. This is great for the red zone. All right, maybe I'll bring this safety down a little bit so I don't get, hit in the seam real quick. Right, and then maybe I'll shade down, shade up. I'll put my guys in cloud flats. The blues will be in cloud flats, right? And then, maybe I'll do something like this where I'll just man up the running back, and then my job would be the tight end. So whatever play he calls, right? I'll just take the tight end, and for the most part, everybody I can kind of lurk in this area, just stuff like that. But those are just some of the quick, like I said, those are just, quick plays that, you guys can mess around with. And so, just mess around with those and see what you think. All right. I'm telling you, I run those plays all the time, and then you'll just have to just adjust out of it and, improve your adjustment game, guys. All right. So, yeah. Oh, and real quick, let me show you a way to stop Texas routes. Okay. It's not the best way. You know what I mean? It's not the best way to stop a Texas route, but it definitely helps, okay? Texas routes are really hard to stop, okay? But what you can do is you can either cross man, right? You can cross man like this, right, where I have the opposite, right? So I have sweat right here, cross man to the running back, all right? If that doesn't work, then what you can do is you can just put him in a bluff blitz, okay? So you hit left on the D-pad twice. That'll pull up your defensive lineman. And then you just click on them, right? So sweat, and then you'll hit bluff blitz, okay? So you'll hit the right stick to the right, then you'll have a bluff blitz, okay? So if you're still watching this far into the video, then you have a tip on how to stop Texas routes, okay? It only stops for a certain second, like he'll hover in this area, but if the running back keeps going, then it'll be caught, so you have to be careful with that. But I'll usually have a 3 rec right there, and then I'll usually just kind of, hover up here, and as you see, it definitely does help at least a little bit with the Texas route, okay? So that's kind of how you're going to stop Texas routes. Like I said, I would use a safety right here, and then boom, I'll act like I'm getting the Texas route, and then I'll shoot up and try to lurk this guy right here. But as you see, he kind of holds down the Texas route just for a little bit, right? So that way it's not such a quick read, you know what I mean? And then by that time, the pressure kind of gets in there, so hopefully, you know what I mean, you can get some pressure in there. But that's just a little tip, and you don't have to run that at a cover 4. Right? You can run that at a cover 2. Right? So if I wanted to run something like this, then I could even have the 3 rec, you know what I mean, on the defensive lineman right here, and just run the shell like we talked about. You know what I mean? We could do that, and then, oh crap, I forgot to put him on a Texas route. Let's see. Right, so I have the Texas route here. Let's say I flip it.
21.
And this is what I'm having right here. I got the Texas route. Right, got everything. Boom. And then I'll just run something like this, right? Let's say I run it here, right? I'm lurking this guy, and then I shoot up here, and I'm covering everything. As you say, it's a real tight read, and then I could just adjust accordingly out of it. But it definitely does help. It definitely does help, especially if you're in all Madden and if you're in MUT, blitzing heavy and stuff like that. They're going to have to make quick reads, so it helps like that. I know this was a longer video. My bad, guys, but enjoy this. All right, this is just a solid foundation to have, and then you guys just work with it, adjust out of it, and then I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.